So, let's talk about something that's happening right now on every single coastline on the planet, the rising speed of our seas. This isn't a story that unfolds over centuries anymore. It's happening in real time, measured in millimeters per year, and those millimeters are stacking up way faster than they ever have before. 4.62 millimeters per year. Now, I know what you're thinking. That sounds tiny, right? It's less than the thickness of a couple of pennies stacked on top of each other. But don't let that number fool you. It tells an absolutely incredible story about the speed at which our world is changing. And here's the crucial part to understand. This isn't just a steady, constant speed. It's an acceleration. The pace itself is picking up steam. That 4.62 millimeter figure? That's the average rate of rise our oceans saw just in the last decade. It's getting faster.
Okay, to really put that into perspective, let's look back. Since 1880, the global average sea level has gone up by almost 10 inches. But the rate we're seeing in this last decade is what's setting off all the alarm bells. We're not on a gentle slope anymore. We're on a curve that's getting steeper and steeper.
So what's behind this? What's actually pushing our oceans higher at this faster and faster rate? Well, it really breaks down into two pretty clear physical processes. You've got two main culprits working together here. First up is something called thermal expansion. It's basic physics, you know? When you heat water, it expands. And our oceans have soaked up a massive amount of heat from climate change, so all that warmer water is literally taking up more room. At the very same time, you have all the ice from glaciers and ice sheets melting, pouring trillions of tons of fresh water into the sea, which just adds to the total volume. And look, this is not some theoretical problem for the future. The impacts are here, and they're happening right now. So let's take a look at the global frontline, the places where this rising tide is already a part of daily life. For some people, this is an existential threat, and I mean that literally. Entire nations like Tuvalu and Kiribati are fighting for their very survival. We're also seeing huge risks in really populated river deltas, historic cities like Venice, and, of course, vulnerable coastal communities all across the Caribbean and the Pacific. It's really easy to look at that list and think of this as something happening far, far away to other people in other countries. But the data tells a totally different story. The reality is, this challenge is arriving on shores a lot closer to home.
In fact, the United States is staring down a massive coast-to-coast challenge, with some of its most famous and most populated cities projected to be hit pretty hard.
I mean, just look at this list. The threat stretches from the Atlantic to the Pacific and down to the Gulf Coast. We're talking about New York City, Boston, the nation's capital in D.C., historic Charleston, and of course New Orleans and Galveston, which already have such a tough history with rising waters, all the way to San Francisco on the West Coast. This is not a regional issue, it's a national one. And we are way past the point of just making projections. For a lot of people, the effects are already a part of daily life. I mean, take Miami. It's not just about hurricanes anymore. On perfectly sunny days, during high tides, seawater is literally bubbling up from the storm drains and flooding the streets. They call it sunny day flooding, and it's what a nuisance today looks like right before it becomes a disaster tomorrow.
And that really brings us to the heart of it all. We've talked about millimeters and looked at global maps and lists of cities, but what does this really mean for people, for communities? What does it mean for you?
There's a quote that just perfectly captures this. Sea level rise seems inconsequential until it creeps up to your own doorsteps. It's such an abstract idea, just a line on a chart, until it's your street that's flooding, or your business that's at risk, or your home that's being threatened. And that's the moment the inconsequential becomes intensely personal. So here's the bottom line. The science is crystal clear. The data shows things are speeding up, and the impacts are already here, from the Pacific Islands to the streets of major American cities. The tides are, without a shadow of a doubt, rising. So the only real question left is, are we ready?